It's tougher, the learning the sword skills or the memorization and the execution of the sequence when it comes down to it?
It's funny for me. I've done a lot of fight training in the past, and in this, like Silver's very good at running from fights or talking his way out of them. So, but I think it's kind of all pretty demanding. It ties in, and things kind of change on the day. We have a great stunt team who fill in for a lot of the fight stuff when they're there, but. I think boot camp was probably the toughest though. Those first 3 weeks when we went over and we just put through our paces in the gym, and then it's like we'd go have a gym session, which would take more energy out of us than had ever happened in our lives, and then we'd go straight to 3 hours of fight training. So I think that was really the toughest thing that ever happened, and we just got more conditioned as it went on. Thank God, because then when you come down to those days really shooting, you're kind of glad that you were broken at the very beginning of the production.
And Jessica, what's been the biggest challenge for you on set?
Everyone keeps asking me that, and it's such a hard question to answer, just because I don't want to give any plot lines away. I mean,
you're totally allowed to give away plot lines.
Oh, I am.
Totally.
Oh, okay. Yes. Well, let's just go through the whole first season.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, at the end of the finale.
Yeah, tell us how.
Anyway, so in the last episode, I think Max goes through pretty wild journey, and I had some really emotionally difficult days on set, physically and emotionally. And
you'll know it when you see it.
Yeah.
I think that question will be with. It's such a great story from Max. I didn't mean to cut you off there, but
fine,
as I think you go, you will know.
Yeah.
No,
you'll know when
Max,
that's a great way to put it. You'll know when you see it. It's a lot of she just goes through very, very, very big journey. She's got a pretty huge character arc, which is pretty cool. I would say one of the biggest character arcs of all the characters on the show.
Yeah. Cool.
So you guys have wrapped shooting on the first season, is that correct?
Yeah.
And then is there already talks of a second season, or is it we're waiting
We'll
to see
be shooting it in about a month's time.
Great.
Yeah. We kind of got the go-ahead a while ago. A bunch of the scripts are ready to rock, apparently. We're ready to see them. But yeah, we're going to be back in Cape Town in about a month's time, and straight into... So we did 8 episodes for season 1, and we got 10 for season 2.
Yeah, it's one of the rare times when you get picked up for a second season before first season is aired, which has been really sort of weird and surreal for us. We have nothing to... I would just want to see the first season so bad. I mean, Luke's had the opportunity to see a little bit.
Some of us, when we were in Cannes at MIPCOM, we sat down and watched a bunch of it, which was great, but just we're catching up.
Yeah, I'll be catching up. Hopefully catching up tonight, actually, because it'll be nice. It will be very informative and informing, for the character to go back into season 2 after having seen some.
Was there anything interesting you guys found out doing research for the roles?
Do you want to go?
I mean, it's so funny because when I think about, research, I mean, I researched more about pirates and sort of that time than I did prostitution, really. I didn't really, troll the streets of LA. And,
do a ride along?
Yeah, exactly. Is this okay? Is this normal? I think it's more like fun facts. Like my favorite fun pirate fact is the reason that pirates used to wear eye patches is because they needed a above deck eye that could see, because when you go underneath and you've been in the sun, you're completely blind, so they had one eye for under deck and one for top deck, and that's why they were a patch on their eye. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah.
I think it really, what was great about it was after, this mythological version of pirates we've seen for so long, like, they're pirates because, hey, they want to be pirates, and it seems like a fun thing to do. And I think in the research you realise, how many of them were ex-Navy, and who were suddenly then left, with no one to go and fight for except for themselves. Also, there's kind of that time in slavery too, so that it became a thing that, you could bust out of there and, go fight for yourself. And just so many different ways, the reasons people would come into this world and how desperate it was, and just the historical context of it all, I think is the most interesting thing about the show. And all the writers have done a great way of bringing that in. And I think that's what's going to be really interesting for the audience too, is seeing really why this was a real thing that people did. Yeah. Because it wasn't fun. Yeah.
Well, did you guys do any research about, say, the female pirates? Because I just read a book on them recently, so I'm very curious.
Oh, cool. What book did you read?
Oh, I read something about Granula, who met Queen Elizabeth I, and she was an Irish pirate that pretty much ran everything.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, right.
Very cool.
Well, the only female pirate we have so far is Anne Bonny.
Yeah.
And Clary's unfortunately not here with us at Comic-Con at the moment. But yeah, she is fantastic. So, It'd be great if she was here to answer a lot
Yeah,
of
it really would. It really would. It really would.
But and I don't really come across it, but Max and Amboni have, as the season goes on, have some chances there.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's really cool. You know, I can't imagine for a second what it would be like to be a female pirate back then. I mean, you're surrounded by men constantly, and she's at sea as much as with the guys as they are there, and she holds her ground. I mean, nobody touches her. You know, if they touch her, that's the last time that they'll ever touch her. You know, she talks about that in the show. She's just a very you know, the measures that you have to take to be a female in that world. You know, and Clara sort of chose to play the character kind of very, very withdrawn and very quiet and very mysterious, but very always listening. You know, and then but killing machine really at the same time.
The thing about it is, with the female pirates, you in the show, because we're really going for reality, you'd have to believe that it would be safe for them to be on the ship. You know, you can't just have, you know, a bunch of hot pirates hanging around deck. Because you go that they wouldn't have a great time with the, you know. And with Amboni, you're like, no one would mess with her.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, you believe it 100%. You go, it doesn't matter how big you are. Yeah, she's not one to be messed with.
Absolutely. She's turned herself into, I mean, she's not a sexy female, but that's not, you know, what we've turned her into, so. Yeah, she's a vicious killer, and really made herself as masculine in a lot of ways as possible.
Yeah, well, the real Anne Bonny did that too, and but she eventually got out of being hanged by being pregnant, so someone got to her eventually.
Since this is such a game of survival in this world, which character is the biggest threat to your character's existence?
Oh, what a good question. That's a really good question. I feel like for me, in season 1, Max is great because she has her eye on every single person, and I think in her mind she's always a few steps ahead, thinking about what's the worst possible scenario that can happen here, and here. I mean, for me, I'm gonna say it's Eleanor. It's Eleanor's character because she's so emotionally invested in that. With everyone else, she isn't. So I think at the moment, you know, there's a I can't really talk about it without saying what I really want to say. But she's very, very emotionally invested in that, and so I think that heightens the level of threat.
So on that note,
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's all right.
Thank you for your time.